She's now at the top of the Democratic ticket, and that means Kamala Harris now has to pick a running mate. Julia Benbrook joins us from the White House. And Julia, that choice could be made in just a matter of days.
That's right, Cynthia. It's coming quickly and all on an enhanced timeline. We know that Kamala Harris has been studying notebooks filled with information about some of the top contenders, and she's had preliminary conversations with some of the potential picks.
Just over a week ago, Kamala Harris was President Joe Biden's running mate. Now she's at the top of the ticket and searching for her own VP. The Harris team is working at a rapid pace to research and test out the top candidates.
I think being mentioned is certainly an honor. My job is to make sure that, and I trust that Vice President Harris' judgment, she'll make the best choice she's going to. But one way or another, she is going to win in November.
Several of those on the list have been hitting the airwaves and the campaign trail, showing their support.
She is ready to not just be the standard bearer of our party, but to be the 47th president of the United States of America.
And taking on former President Donald Trump.
He called her a bum. If he wants to see a bum, he ought to look in the mirror.
I have 2 daughters and a granddaughter. I really worry about their rights if Donald Trump is elected again and J.D. Vance is the vice president.
The top contenders include Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg and Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear are also still in conversation. There will be a decision soon. A source familiar with the planning says that Harris and her running mate will travel to a series of battleground states next week.
As is typical in these vice presidential searches, the Harris campaign has been intently focused on who could strengthen the ticket's electoral chances. And polling has been conducted on how at least some of these candidates would impact the race in those battleground states.
Now, Julia, you mentioned that tour of battleground states. What's the schedule looking like for that?
So she's expected to start this on Tuesday with a rally in Philadelphia, and that location is sparking some interest because, of course, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, that's where he's from. And then also another one of those states they'll be visiting, Arizona. That's where Mark Kelly is from. But no matter who she picks, she and her running mate are going to get off and running quickly. Lots of stops in that first week together.
And Julia, Kamala Harris will officially become the Democratic nominee at the convention, which is, what, less than 3 weeks away.
And we're learning a little bit more about the schedule. Of course, President Joe Biden, who was once slated to close the program, he is now expected to speak on the opening night. And sources familiar with planning say that that night will likely be focused on his achievements and his legacy. We then tentatively expect former presidents Bill Clinton and Barack Obama to speak the next day. On Wednesday, Harris's yet-to-be-announced VP will take the stage, and then on Thursday, Harris, of course, will close. Now, convention organizers have said that other than, of course, that vice presidential speech and the presidential speech that are standard, that no other details have been finalized.
Always great to speak with you, Julia. Thank you. That is Julia Benbrook in Washington.